live? We might be live. We might be live. Oh, we're so live. We're so live. We're so back. I forgot to change the title. Hold up. I need to change the title of the stream. I was... Where can I send this tab? I think this tab is free. Okay. What day is it? It's day 15, right? I think so. Day 15. Boom. Why is my bitrate in the gutter? It's because on both platforms I am also viewing the stream. Boom. Okay. So, what are we doing today? Okay, you know, for a second there I thought everything was on my personal account, but it seems like we're good. We're not doxing ourselves today. We are quite smart little cookies now. Okie dokie. July 8th. What are we doing? So, implementing classes for conversation agent. I think that is what we're doing. I think that is exactly what we're doing. Okie dokie. So, I realize what's probably best is probably to write the tests first before we implement the things. So, yeah. It's just that testing AI modules might be a bit more complicated than I thought. Huh. Okay, maybe we will spend today writing tests instead of actually implementing the stuff, because tests are pretty darn important. And it might be more boring implementing tests, but I think in the long run it will definitely help. So, right. Oh, I forgot to also start the Pomodoro. Right, potential tests for the conversation module. And then implement the actual tests for the conversation module. And then if we have time, implementing this for the conversation module. So what does this include? This includes conversation service. What did I even call everything? I don't even know. I don't know. Conversation service. Conversation agent. Model factory. I think this stuff should be pretty easy. Yeah. This is going to be super easy, surely. I think tools is probably going to be the hardest one, because I'm not too sure what to even put in tools. But it is what it is. We're kind of just going to go hard, or we're going to go home. And I hope that we go hard before we go home, okay? Okay. Okie dokie. Wait, sorry, I'm very distracted right now. ADHD. Anyways, let's actually get to work. The getting distracted is for in 53 minutes when it's actually time for our 5-minute break, okay? Okay. Tests for the conversation module. Bum 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 bum. Test conversation service .py. Test conversation agent. You know, don't you think the conversation service test belongs in like integration tests? Probably does. Test model factory .py. And we don't really have any tools to test. Oh, so it's super easy. Super easy. It's almost as if everything's already implemented in LangGraph, huh? Because LangGraph does everything for you already, so there's no need to implement LLMs yourself. Yippee, yippee. Yip, yip, yippee. Yip, yip, yippee. Yippee, yippee. Yippee, yippee. Yippee, yippee. Mm-hmm. Yippee, yippee. Yip, yip. Sorry, I'm still very distracted. What was I doing? Tests for model factory. So we're mostly just gonna run smoke tests for this stuff just to make sure that nothing explodes, because like how am I supposed to validate the format of the output, right? Where is it? Yep, yep. Yep, yep. Yeah, I guess for each different type of chat model factory output, just make sure that you can in fact initialize it. Might need a lot of API keys. And then what else? We only have Gemini right now, so there's that. Do you have anything else? To making sure that the model factory handles invalid model names. Yeah. Are we even meant to raise an error with this? Are we? Do we want to raise an error with the model factory? I don't know. I don't know. So do we want to, yeah, we probably should have it like, okay, yeah, it raises the value error. Okay. But then it's like, or no, it depends on the KWRgs, keyword args that you pass in. Yeah. Test model factory initialize Gemini, and then import PyTest from conversation agent input LLM factory or is instance model and base chat model from LangChain core, all this stuff, import base chat model. So what do you really need to like initialize Gemini? I don't know. Just don't worry about it too much. All that we care is that we have this find test model factory invalid name raises value error. Smoke. I'm just gonna put smoke at the end because it's a smoke test. If the computer is smoking, then it fails. If the computer is not smoking, then it didn't fail. Factory.create model. Okay. Wait, so how are you? Okay, hold up. How? What the frick was that, huh? I wasn't even looking at that screen. How do you test that something raises the appropriate error in PyTest? With PyTest raises value error. Okay. Look at how simple it is. Low cortisol coding. Yep. Okay, do we need conversation service test? Might as well. Conversation agent. Get over here. Okay. Sorry, I was writing tests all day today for another job. It was kind of hurting my head just looking at the test files. Okay. Oh wait, shoot. This is basically an end-to-end test, right? It's really gonna be hard to test every individual node. So what we can do is just mock. I believe this is how you use mock. Basically, you just create some sort of fake conversation state, and then you pass it into each one of these different nodes and see what happens. Okay. So we only need to initialize one instance of the conversation model. So test each node individually and make sure the output is expected. So record preferences. What is this meant to do? State should wait. So station state. So how am I meant to record preferences, right? It's supposed to make like a tool call into something. Hold up, I should probably write this down. How different nodes of the conversation agent graph work. Okay. Preferences. So for recording preferences, how do we do this? Do we want to store it in the state? I'm not sure that's the greatest idea, right? I think we can just store this in the state actually. Yeah, I can probably just store this state as some list. So do you think an AI is better at generating a list of stuff, or do you think it's better at generating just like a paragraph? I mean, since it was trained on paragraph-like text, I think it's probably better at generating a paragraph. However, later fine-tunes could allow us to generate a list instead, right? Yeah. And since I have a GPU that can fine-tune LLMs, we can like build a custom LLM just for recording that. Because multiple agents. Not necessarily parallel computing, but it's pretty good. Pretty cool. Yippee. Okay. Sorry, I'm still very distracted. I have been staring at this spreadsheet, hoping for it to update for a while now, and it's just not updating. Oh. Wow. Just store the state as some list, as a paragraph, describing user preferences, since LLMs probably better at generating paragraph style documents gather list and stuff. Later on we can use like fine-tuned small LLM in order to generate a list of the preferences of the user. Okay, record preferences and then what's next? Generate response. Simple. This is very simple. Just adding another AI message into the messages component of the state. Check is done. Check is done. Yeah, again, store this in the state. We extract this from the state at the end of the invoke. Then we process it outside of the graph. Yeah. Yeah. Yep, 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 yep. Yep, 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 yep. Why am I getting so distracted? I might have used my brain a bit too much today. That's pathetic, huh? Imagine being so cringe that you just are cringe. What? LLM's response should be formatted in message stir. So this is just for passing it into the LLM in the shape of the message, right? So that we can just initialize this kind of response with the message. Okay. Conversation state and then preferences is going to be this is going to be a stir for now. And then preference extraction complete. And then, do I just want to call it is complete? It is complete. And I'm just going to call this bool. Because AIs suck at returning anything that's not a string or anything that's not a paragraph because it's cringe. It's cringe. It's cringe. It's cringe. I'm cringe. What am I doing? I am just kind of chilling, vibing, building AIs. It's a pretty chill job, to be honest. Where's my tests? Test conversation agent. Okay, record preferences. Records the user preferences in conversation state. Okay. So about this. So we need a way of actually like understanding whether or not this is an adequate preference for the user or is it just the AI rambling. So how can we go about this? Recording user preferences in state and identifying it is correct. So, user preferences are recorded in this state graph AI might just we want to make sure that this is actually the user's preferences for their financial portfolio and not just some random garbage that the AI slopped out. Okie dokie, okie dokie. So, how do we ensure this? I swear I read this in a book. Oh no, I think that was only about tool calls. How can we understand that the semantics of the message are adequate? Well, one way to do it is probably to use another LLM to evaluate the test. But again, I feel like that is... well, that's pretty... I don't like stuff that's not deterministic. That's the problem, because this is probabilistic if we use another LLM, because LLMs are just inherently very probabilistic systems that are kind of stupid at times. Do we want to like parse based on certain words that are contained in it? So stuff like user likes ... or user intends to ... I'm not too sure how we can do this. So let's ask online, actually. Let's ask Claude. Let's ask an AI how we can evaluate AI output. So I am building an AI to obtain the trading of objectives of an user for automatically building a finance stock portfolio. Okay, then what about this? The user, I want to make a test to see if the AI's output is actually relevant to the financial preferences of the user, or is it completely unrelated? How can I build this test? I ideally want to just use this as some sort of unit test. Pondering. Grounding. Portfolio semantically consistent with stated preferences. Labeled. Yeah, we need a scoring function. Run in CI like a unit test. Okay. High volatility. No interest in oil and gas or tobacco. 20+ year horizon. Include synthetic but real user profiles. Okay. Measurable relevance checks per case. Decompose into checkable properties. Sector stock. Match stated risk tolerance. Preference alignment checks. Coverage checks. Yeah, LLM as a judge works, but again, I don't like it. Ay. Are these the different options? Mm-hmm. We can frame it as relevance. So how do you do this? Is semantically consistent. So I guess, are we just comparing the vector representations of the outputs? That would be an interesting thing. But that requires me to also bring in an embedding model. I'll ask this to a different AI as well. Sorry, I don't know why my brain isn't working today. I actually do know why my brain isn't working. Then preferences that must be reflected in the AI's output. Yeah, right. The LLM as a judge, you know what? Fine. Conversation state, use another LLM to judge whether this is related. That LLM then gets some sort of score, or some sort of pass, or fail score. So I don't want it to actually import like a pass-fail Boolean score. I don't want it to actually output a numerical score, because I feel like oftentimes with these kinds of LLMs, they would just hallucinate some sort of random number, and it's going to be very different depending on your generation. So it's not a very good metric. Something better would be like actual semantics of like the vector embeddings. However, in that case, it gets a bit messy. And you have to consider stuff like, for example, in the last project that I built, whether or not it was looking for similarity with the actual question or like the actual answer. That's a big problem that might occur. In this case, we might encounter something similar. Let me think about how it can kind of relate to this case. So instead of recording like user preferences, it could record like the other words that the user says describing their preferences, rather than the actual preferences themselves. So if the user says, how do I even explain this? Their preferences are long, they're high volatility. So perhaps the LLM putting an actual number to it might get a lower score than something like the LLM talking about high something else. So like the user is high rather than talking about like high volatility might get higher score. I don't like it. So I think am I getting sick? Generate response. Again, generates a response trying to reflect its understanding of the user's preferences, and asking for more information that might be needed in building a finance portfolio. Whoops. Again, use LLM as a judge for whether or not this works as intended. So I am starting to think that maybe it is a better idea to have the user's preferences stored as some sort of data object. Yeah, that's probably better. I should probably do it in states, right? Because it's not actually used outside of the graph. Class user preferences base model represents the LLM's understanding of the user's preferences, attributes, risk tolerance. User's risk tolerance level should be something like could be something like low, medium, high, or more qualitative, such as or more quantitative, such as actual standard deviation and such. Sure. Investment goals, and then it's ESG, right? I think that's just the users' preferences for what kinds of industries they want to invest in. I just need to confirm that real quick. ESG and finance. Environmental, social, and governance. Yeah, business practices. So, does investment goals matter? I guess this is like horizon, right? Yeah. Horizon stir. How long term the user is planning for their portfolio. Horizon. Okay, what else? Oh, what did Claude provide? Risk tolerance, excluded sectors, time horizon, growth versus income. I don't like the idea of this. I'm just gonna say other factors that might be important in building a portfolio for the user. Other preferences that the user has. And what is it called, like investing in certain sectors? What is it called when someone wants to invest in specific sectors or not invest in specific sectors? I think there's a name for it. I don't think that's it. Shoot. I think the big one is definitely just risk tolerance and horizon, right? Everything else is just whatever, I reckon. I don't know. I don't know. Ay. What do you think, huh? Who am I talking to? I genuinely have no idea. User preferences. Just not worry about it, man. Risk tolerance, horizon, scope there. Generate response. What's the last one? Check is done. Okay. Check is done. Check is just looking at if the output can be parsed into Boolean. Okie dokie. Some sort of paragraph. What am I reading? Why is my brain not working? I'm getting distracted, sorry. Who am I apologizing to? The live stream of 0 viewers? Probably. Okay, make sure that output is as expected. Try invoking the graph as a whole and ensuring that key fields are in fact filled out. 3. So how can we get the validation stuff to work? How can we like test the validation? Oh yeah. So do we want to build the validation stuff into this? I think I had this question earlier. So validation, yeah. Validation, instead of using a validation model after we can just use Pydantic schema, which auto-validates. Okay. So it automatically tries again. Yeah. So we don't need to test the validation. Well, that's really nice. That is very nice. I think that's it. I can't think of anything else that we want to test with this conversation agent. Short-term memory checkpointer? Ooh, wait, we might actually want to check the memory. But no, we assume that the memory does work because that's just built into LangGraph, right? It's not in our code, it's in LangGraph's code that the memory works. Yeah. I think that's everything. Okay, let's implement it. Import pytest at pytest.fixture scope equals module define conversation agent define setup and from import conversation model. I don't think so. Oh, it is conversation model. I'm kind of stupid. I might be a stupid little lad. Model equals conversation model and return model. Yippee, wahoo, yippee. Define test record preferences. Returns relevant preferences from user, and then model equals setup. Sure. Hold up, I want to check my states again. Because we're just passing in some state, right? Oh yeah, okay. Conversation agent.agent.state import conversation state. So state which equals conversation state. Conversation ID, user messages, user preferences equals nothing is complete equals false. Right, okay, so user preferences, instead we're just going to use user preference, yeah. User preferences and none, what did I click? Is complete. It's just a bool. We don't need anything fancy. I don't reckon we need anything fancy. It's alright. State equals conversation state, and then we just do model record preferences, and then to do implement judge. Actually, hold up. Hold up. Judge model which equals variable you are to judge whether or not the user's references are adequately stored in the following output from AI. Here is the original user message. Here is the updated state.user preferences. Please respond. I'll just use an F string. What am I looking at? Please respond true if the output blank if it does not. And then define LLM judge relevance. So we have just prompt circle. What the frick are you looking at? LLM as a judge for whether or not the output from different nodes, the conversation agent is relevant. Shut up. Pass. So we need to implement this. We need an LLM as a judge. What has the cheapest API? I'm pretty sure Gemini has the cheapest API. Quick. The fastest way to set up Google Gemini and pass in some prompt to it. API. Boom. Okay. Client.models.generate. What the frick? What the frick? Is Gemini 2.5? What the? Isn't that outdated? Whatever. Whatever. Client. Or actually, hold up. Client equals or from Google import GenAI. Client equals GenAI dot client and API key equals API key or Gemini API key. And then we also, I don't want to read that. Okay, I need to configure API keys somewhere. Is it best to have like a constants folder with all of this stuff? I mean, we can just load environment in every module. It's probably not that hard. From .m import load.m and then load.m. Right? How to access things from environment file Python. Okay. Equals get environment Gemini API key. LLM judge response and then response equals response dot low or wait shoot, yeah, it might have to be like this, and then response which equals response dot strip dot lower if true and response return true, if false return false, else. Okay, sure. And then this is just prompt. Okie dokie, and then we just go a search judge. is true. Yeah, we need to do 2, 3. 1, 2, 2, 3. Yep, 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 yep. Yep, 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 yep. Yep, 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 yep. Okie dokie. Find test, generate response, returns relevant response. Show me what you've got. Slow. Generate response state, understand the user preferences, blah blah. Here's the output from the AI. It does not, okay. If the output correctly reflects the user's preferences and asks for more information if needed, and return false if it does not. Find test check, then return boolean is complete bool. So I'm just gonna say this is none at first. The docs are whatever I want it to be. Look at how much power I have. I can make the docs whatever I want. Okay, I'm starting to realize that this might not be the most robust because this is only for just a single message, right? So, but I think for AIs, the best way to test them is like end-to-end testing. But if you have the compute, it's good to have like a full test set of like AI response or messages to prompt the AI on, and also just AI judge to judge the stuff. But in this case, I don't really have that kind of test set, so we're just gonna work with this. The test invokes conversation input. Insert messages. Is completed. That's not what I want to see. Assert output.get messages. Messages is not none, right? Assert user preferences is not none. And then output.get is complete is not none. I think this is good enough tests for now. Obviously we can do a lot more with these tests, and I would like to do a lot more with these tests. However, yeah. 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 Okie dokie. Okay, I think this is fine, and then I'll just put like a to-do. To-do, ideally for testing this conversation agent, we run the LLM as a judge on, or we run the conversation agent a whole test set of potential user prompts and conversations. Then we pass these through them as a judge to see how accurate our model is. This part's mostly just a smoke test. It's mostly just a smoke. The code in this file is largely just a smoke test to make sure things don't break, or to make sure things are at least moderately coherent in the conversation. Conversation agent tests and states. Okay, now conversation service. Honestly, the only thing that this thing really needs to test is just that you can pass things into it and it doesn't explode. That's about it, to be honest. That is really about it. Okay. Test conversation service. Tests for the conversation service. Yeah, so mostly what's going to be going on here with the conversation service is just a bunch of smoke tests. Like, the only thing this thing needs to do is just to make sure that it actually passes stuff into the rest of the conversation module and doesn't explode. User conversation output event. Oh shoot, I need to initialize event bus, right? Ooh. Okay. Shoot, wait. How do I even test this thing? Because this is just going to create a conversation model regardless. So it's just an end-to-end test. I mean, I guess that's the point of it, right? Just end-to-end, make sure that it returns something. Yeah. Just end to end test with starting up the conversation service. Send in user conversation input into the event bus and ensuring that is published to the event bus. As for the format, sure. And then import PyTest, import, I guess asyncio, sure. See, I don't even know what's happening. Find test conversation service and or just making sure it doesn't crash. Run service, await service.run. Oh, wait. Service.run, await input event equals this. Yep. So for output event bus, and assert that the output is in fact following the schema. So now that we have a clear idea of what we want from this, where's our schema? Wait, where did our schema? Oh, we don't have a schema. Okay, that'll explain where our schema went. Okay. Output event from the conversation module. Wait. Wait, shouldn't it be in core? Yeah, events. User conversation output event. So then what is conversation output? Where is this even used? Nowhere. Conversation input, conversation output. Oh, so there's a conversation agent. So this is used internally. The service uses the actual events. Okay, that's so confusing. Which dumb idiot wrote this garbage code, huh? I want to break their legs and eat them alive. User conversation output event, AI response conversation ID, user ID version. Okay, so I also want user preferences. Yeah. I definitely want user preferences in this. Okay, user preferences, and then this is, what did I even call it? I have too many classes. User preferences base model LLM. User preferences state and user preferences thing. So I want user preferences state. Oh, but that makes things a lot more complicated. Or no, we can just, for like user preferences not state, we can just do like user preferences not state, which equals just user preferences not state user preferences state, or something like this. Yeah. I don't know, I want to take a 5-minute break and see what happens then. Thanks for watching. Shut your mouth. I wish Adblock worked on this, but it doesn't. So, what do? We look to see if we have any viewers on Twitch. We don't. Okay. Now we're just sitting here chilling. Bum. On break, on break. Yep, yep. I don't know what to do. Yep, yep, yep. Yep, yep, yep. Okie. When can we get back to work? I just want to get back to work. I just want to get back to work. Put me in, Captain. Man, do you ever just feel like you don't know enough about a field and you just can't learn more about it? I feel like that's low-key me right now. It's like, I feel like I'm not learning anything. I don't know, it's hard to tell actually. Anyways, I don't think I have too much to do today. Okie dokie, back to work. What was I doing? Testing conversation service and making sure that this thing just works, okay? I don't know if you can hear the water. I sure hope you can't. That would be kind of awkward if you can. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Conversation output event. Okay, I was wanting to put, what do I want to put in here? Or so user preferences. I think it might be best to have user preferences state and also that. User LLM response schema. I'm just going to call this schema just so we can actually know what this stuff does or the purpose of the stuff. What does it want me to do? This is state. And then here we can just do conversation output. Yeah. Class user preferences. Wait. User preferences. This is just not the state, which means it's outside of the graph. I think it's still kind of messy though, to be honest. Exact same as user preferences state, which is used internally in the graph. This is mostly just for keeping things clean. What did I even change? I don't even know. Conversation output. Oh wait, no, this is an API. Why am I looking at the API? What kind of nerd needs to know what the API does, huh? We don't even have an API. Boom. Okay. From conversation agent dot data import user preference. See, this to me still feels kind of sus. Because like we're importing something from very deep in the module. And I generally want to avoid that. But I think it's alright. It's fine for stuff in the higher level to depend on stuff in the deeper levels. but the opposite is not okay, at least according to clean architecture. In this case, I think it's alright. I just want to reduce as much coupling as possible, but in this case, I don't think there really is a way to reduce it. And I just realized that once we pass this into the actual research agent, it's also going to have to depend on this user preferences thing. But that's a problem to be solved for a different time. Okay, I'll wait for user preferences, conversation output. So, what do we need? AI response, conversation ID, user ID, and is done, and this is just bool. Bool. Conversation. What do you need user ID for? I don't know, man. Response is not none. Assert output event is not none. Assert is instance. Yeah. And the version is just whatever. Task equals create task run service and input to event. Listen for output to event and run until complete, and then we wait until all of these tasks are complete. These two both block, or this one blocks for a good bit. Wait, we don't have event bus.wait for. Frick. Frick. Yeah, I need to subscribe it to the event bus. Okay, so queue, which equals async.queue, user conversation event queue, queue.get. Await sleep. This is fragile. Equals user conversation input event. Yes. Await event bus.publish. So how can I make this less fragile? I don't like this sleep one. Publish input event. Okay, you know what? That looks good to me. Looks good to me. I should probably updated schema for conversation agent. And then test conversation service. Tests for the conversation service. Okie dokie. So, do we have anything else to do today? I think that's about it for today. I don't think we are going to get onto actually implementing anything. I would like to, but it's already 10 p.m., which means too bad. Oh well. Goodbye, gamers. Goodbye.